probably about 12 to... Alright, so we're at Alta. This is a widely anticipated launch, and I think a lot of people have been very hopeful because there has been so much lag time before like a brand new development pop up in the Clementi enclave. Clementi is one of the most exciting regions in what we call the District 5 enclave. The reason is because later as we zoom out on the map itself, you'll notice that this is really like a very special enclave and district where you have such a small township, but at the same time the performance of the private properties has been so distinct. Let's go and check out this show gallery at Alta. Now this is a 99-year project and the site area is at 144,780 square feet, 501 units with 401 parking lots, 39-story, 2 towers, and most importantly, fantastic sea views from the south-facing units. Let's talk about Alta. This is a joint development by MCL Land as well as CSC Land. The architect is P&T Consultant, landscape designer is EcoPlan Asia, project interior design is from Index Design, and I think the three of them combined has done a really great job in terms of calibrating the entire development. Now some of the projects by MCL, like Nava Grove, Tembusu Grand, Leiden Green, CSC has done like Twinville, Grand Dharma as well as Verdell. These are reputable developers with years and years of experience in the market. I'm going to let you have a sneak peek of that 2 towers here. Oh my goodness, just have a look at them. Now, one of the inspiration behind the name Alta, Alta means high and elevated. And this is located at the final plot that's available in between these 2 projects called Clavon as well as Clement Canopy. If you were to come to Clementi Avenue 1, a lot of people love this particular part of Clementi is because this has a total unblocked view of the south, and that's overlooking towards the future Greater Southern Waterfront. This is the front facing of that development itself. If you look at the plot dimension, right behind here, this is facing towards south facing Greater Southern Waterfront. Now the back facing is towards the entrance door of Clementi Avenue 1. Now on my left and right flank, those are already the 2 developments that has been completed. Now Clavon has just received its TOP date very recently. Clement Canopy was a project that started in the year 2019. And of course, if I were to zoom out and look at the entire Clementi enclave, there's such a limited amount of private properties available. Now Clementi, just a little bit of background history, was that this in the past was known as a township that was very popular with professors as well as what we call like the NUS zoning. Now the rationale is because if you were to look at the entire map itself, you're being bounded by all this very popular tertiary as well as the educational enclave. So you have NUS, you have the Dover region, you have Ngee Poly, you have Singapore Poly. On the extreme west portion, you have the entire Jurong Business District township, which there are a lot of exciting upcoming master plan that's going to happen. And now with the Greater Southern Waterfront that is upcoming, which is over at this entire map itself, this almost completes the entire north, south, east, west boundary of Clementi. So Clementi is right plonk in the middle, and of course, and this entire portion over the next 10 to 20 years, that will be Greater Southern Waterfront. In short, we call it GSW in terms of master plan. NUS entire region over here, right towards the north, that will be where Dover, you have Pandan Valley, you have Holland, and then of course if you go up further north a little bit, that will be the entire District 10. So D5, Clementi, really popular, and plus the fact that you're just right beside what we call Buona Vista in terms of the Silicon Valley of Singapore. So that is the entire One North and Buona Vista region. So you're really surrounded by not just the educational tertiary enclave, you're surrounded by the Silicon Valley hub of Singapore, you're surrounded by the 2nd largest business district apart from our CBD, which is Jurong Business Hub. This is one of the reasons why Clementi has been so popular in the past, even though if I were to track back about 20 years back, there were only HDB apartments available. And this is one of the HDB enclave that first challenged the $1 million bandwidth in terms of its HDB public housing. Now the first project that popped up was Regent Park. Now this is a low-rise enclave which was in a diagonal fashion from Clementi MRT station. Now that was the project that currently I think in terms of age is about 20 odd years already. That's beside Nanhua Primary School. And the second development that popped up was in the year 2012 in terms of land tenure start date. There's Triling. You have another 2 developments which is Park Clementi's as well as Clement Canopy. And then in 2019 you have Clavon. And this plot I would say is one of the last few plots plots in terms of government land sales, because in terms of the entire Clementi enclave, there's a very limited plot that's available. So something to note is that when you buy into Clementi, a lot of people are anticipating launches in the Clementi estate because firstly, GIS land plot is extremely limited. Secondly, to find high-rise plots like this with a plot ratio of about 3.5 onwards is extremely difficult, because in the landed enclave in towards the Faber Gardens estate, the plot ratio is usually limited to 1.4 plot ratio. So even though in future, if there were to be any other new launches that will come up, you are looking at more low-rise projects, whether it's a boutique or whether it's a large-scale development. But for those of you who love high-rise living, this is one of the very rare plots that is available. We're in Q1 2025, and we want to dissect not just location, pricing, as well as the exciting floor plans that the developer has came up with. I'm going to show you a sneak peek of the site plan first. In terms of floor plan, I've taken time to really analyze all the way from 1+ study towards 5 bedders, and I think they have put in a lot of thought process into the architecture needs as well as the interior layout needs. Now take note, in terms of ELTA, this is a harmonized project. Now anything that starts from the tail end part of 2024, we're looking at harmonization for the GLS land plots. I think is a great thing for the entire market. Harmonization will mean that the traditional strata areas that developers used to put inside the GFA features of the layout in terms of aircon ledgers, those were usually part of the GFA that buyers will have to pay. When we went into harmonization, this will mean that you're really paying for the square footage that you're stepping on. You have a lot more efficiency in terms of the layout, you have a lot more efficiency in terms of the quantum versus the PSF pricing. I think with Q3 and Q4 of 2024, a lot of home buyers are already used to the harmonization factors. And when we deep dive into 1+ study, whether it's a 2-bed premium, 2+ study, 3, 4, 5 bedders over here. Later, as we head on to show unit, you will realize what I'm talking about in terms of efficiency. Now, site plan, very clean cut. I think the most important thing is that we want to look at where are the big units. You have the 5 bedders located at stack number 1. The largest 2 stacks will be stack number 1 as well as stack 13. So this is the 5 bedder stack. You also have the 4+ study over here. Anything that is above the standard 4 bedder, so if you were to go for a 4+ study, 4-bed premium, as well as a 4-bed dual key, you're going to enjoy one additional ensuite bathroom. They've also taken into the consideration that if you go for at least 4 bedders or 5 bedders, you need more bathrooms. A combination of like Jack and Jill bathroom features, ensuite junior master, combination of different floor plan types. So these are the 2 largest units. You have 3 bedders which are predominantly stack number 4, 2 as well as 9. These are facing primarily towards the Clementi enclave, towards the north facing direction. You have a combination of 1+ study, 2-bed premium, 2-bed premium plus study as well. I think there's a very unique 4-bed dual key located at stack number 5. Now one of the reasons why this is unique is because traditionally when we look at dual key units, they are usually larger than their 4-bedder counterpart. But over here, when we dissect the 4 different types of 4-bedders, which starts from the 4-bedroom, 4-bed premium, 4+ study, as well as the 4-bed dual key. The 4-bed dual key is a 1313 square feet, which is the same size as a 4-bed premium unit. So you're going to be spoiled for choices, because later I'm going to have you dissect whether should you go for like a 4-bed premium or a 4-bed dual key unit, and how you're going to utilize both different types of layout in order to make a decision. Now, let's come and have a look at site model. I think in terms of concept-wise, this is really done well in terms of combining the high-rise architecture feature of the entire building. If you look at the video in terms of interviewing the landscape designer as well as the architect as well as the interior designer for the units over here, they've really taken into a lot of aspects, which includes later a lot of treetop function throughout the entire landscaping features of this entire project. So when you come into ELTA, I think your entire family is going to enjoy different portions of the facility zone. Let me just analyze with you first the moment when you drive into your entrance pavilion over here. Once you come in, there's a very clear-cut and grand opening into your guardhouse. So from the left portion, there will be the entrance, right portion will be the exit. Very clear demarcation and distinction. In terms of entry and exit wise, I think the flow is done very well. Drop-off will be at the grand pavilion over at this direction. If you are a resident, you can just drive straight to the left-hand side into the driveway car park. It's going to come with a basement 1 for resident. You have level 1, 2, 3 in terms of multi-story parking as well. One of the reason why I think the developers have decided to place almost half of the 50 facilities over at level 4, right on top of the multi-story car park, is because they want to create this segregation, the AYE highway over here. I'm going to give you an analogy of flip side of D5. Along the entire Singapore Island map, one of the two closest region that you can get almost like sea view, front-facing high-rise project will be either District 5 or District 15. If you don't want to stay in the CBD or Marina Zone, these are the two coastal districts over here. In terms of the entire D15, if you stay in the front-facing seafront condos, you will definitely have to overlook towards the ECP Expressway. Similarly, when it comes to D5, you will have to overlook towards the Ayer Rajah Expressway as well. So one of the key features, I think, in terms of the architecture design is to create like a deeper setback, and that can be created either by a setback from the expressway, or it can be created from an elevation from the expressway. Of course, over here you have 3-story multi-story parking, and of course with this entire features of the 50 meters lap pool, your family pool, your function room, your gym, this creates like an elevation for the entire project, which I think when you look at the starting level for sale, all the units over here, whether you are getting tower 10 or tower 12, you will start from level 4. So there's no level 1, 2, 3, which in and of itself, it really gives a grand feeling for the entire project. So just have a look at, if you are standing at the level 1 lawn area, once you're at the lawn area, you realize that actually level 1, 2, 3 is missing. So this is technically level 4. You can purchase anything from level 4 or 5 onwards, all the way up towards the top of the level, which is at level 39. So similarly, if you were to get anything that's facing towards south, level 4 will be the level that you can walk directly out into the pool deck, into the gymnasium, into the function room as well, into the family deck. And I think in terms of like whether you want to face inwards towards the Clementi enclave or you want to face outwards towards the south facing, you have choices over there as well. Project-wise, 501 unit, tennis court, full-blown facilities, close to 50 different facilities over here. I love the fact that in terms of here, you have an extremely long kids play zone, parties room as well. Water play pool area is also located at level 1. Party pavilion number 2 is also located towards the corner. If, of course, you want to host anything, you'll be at level 4. You have your function room number 2, 2 BBQ pavilions on left and right flank, gym right in the middle together with changing rooms and steam rooms. The extremely good sized pool in terms of width and depth, 50 meters right along the main pool deck. So over here, you still have your bubble pool, spa bed, you have like your spa seat pools, lawn areas, family pool. Once we flip back over at this direction, you'll notice that this is the feature that I think the architects have really spent a lot of time to play around with the landscaping. But what is interesting is that they have created this communal sky bridge over here that allows you to walk towards like an elevated level 2 height from the entire entrance at this direction. So you will also notice that it is cordoned off in order to create safety for your kids. Cars technically cannot directly go into this entire gardening as well as a grand lawn area. So you have high walls over here as well as a lot of natural canopy that's being created. And over at this direction, there's this extremely huge grand lawn. Function room number 1, family pavilion, you have a bathroom over here, social pavilions, relaxed pavilion, wellness pavilion. And I think this sky bridge really creates like a different feeling in terms of the entire look and feel of the facade as well as the facilities that your family can enjoy. Some distinct things that we always look at in terms of the site model is we want to look at where are all the ancillary services zone. On the right hand side, this is where the service driveway is being located. I also don't see anything that is concerning in terms of the genset. Basically, the genset is located in the extreme corner over here, just right beside the tennis court. Now, tennis court is also located on level 1, right outside the multi-story parking. So it's not going to affect any of the units that you're choosing, because sometimes when we look at the site models, we want to see where's the tennis court being located. We want to look at the noise level. We want to look at where's the genset. So I think in terms of structuring the ancillary services, it is very well planned. Now, facade-wise, nice dark bronze kind of feel, full-blown window panels floor to ceiling. And I think most importantly is that in terms of the segregation of balcony space as well as the room sizes and the layout plan is all done in a very efficient manner. I want to show you the exact point that you're located. So if you look at this, we're located at the center plot. On the left-hand side, that's where Clairvon is being located, TOP, and just very recently, in the last few months, you have Clement Canopy as well. Now, something to note is that These 3 plots, once it's completed, they will form like the high-rise towers fronting towards the seafront, facing towards the West Coast region. If you want to walk directly towards Clementi Swimming Complex, the MRT station, this takes probably about 10 minutes. You can also take the buses located at Clementi Avenue 1. And Clementi in and of itself is a small township that has very high performance, not just in public housing as well as the private properties. Now, if I were to just pop out some of the performance in terms of private properties that has sprouted out probably about the last 10 to 13 years. First project will be Tri-Link, and then you have Park Clementis, you have Clement Canopy, if you have Clavon as well. We just need to lay out these 4 developments in terms of their price graph from the start point towards the current resale market. The most important thing is that we want to note, are we in an enclave or an estate with a lot of competition? For example, if you are belonging to a district or an enclave with multiple projects, whether it's boutique projects or high-rise projects, so let's say you have 10, 15, 20 projects to compete with, this is something that you want to take note, is that your project hits its TOP stage 3 to 4 years later. What are the existing competitors that you will have to outshine in the resale market? But when it comes to Clementi, in the first place, there's already so limited supply in terms of private properties. There's so limited supply in terms of new launches. There's so limited supply in terms of the amount of projects right here. In fact, if I name these projects, there are only 4 existing resale projects in the market for the buyers to choose from in the resale space. Then once this has TOP'd, this is technically like the 5th project, which is high-rise in nature and which has came out in the last 10 to 13 years. So coming back to the performance of this existing project, there's the second point that you have to take note, is that we all want to note, are they performing or are they not performing? Because if they are performing, from the launch date to the TOP date to the resale activities, transaction bandwidth, then this is a good indicator to look at the health as well as the demographics buying power in a particular enclave. So as we can see from Tri-Link, Park Clementis, Clement Canopy as well as Clavon, these 4 are all on an uptrend graph. That just shows an indication on the buying activity over here, the confidence level that the buyers have over here, the holding power of the existing owners that owns these 4 projects as well. That will then give us into the third thing, what we want to look at in terms of our PLB moat analysis. Firstly, ELTA has more than 300 units. It has a combination of 501 units. Secondly, if we look at the unit distribution mix, so the way that the developer has designed is that 1+30 has a combination of about 7%, 2-beta has a combination of about 30% in terms of total distribution, 3-beta is about 20%, 4-beta is at about 20%, and 5-beta is at about 7%. In totality, 501 unit is being spread out pretty distinctly and in a very healthy fashion, with a combination of needs for younger families for 2-betas, 2+30, mid families of a certain size, maybe 2 to 3 kids for their 3-betas, as well as 4-betas, and most importantly, large size families for 5-betas. So I think there's no tilt towards like too many of the 1-betas, because some projects which they have an overpopulation of like 1 and 2-betas, maybe comprising of more than 60%. This is something that we want to think about, like in terms of transaction volume in future, would that be affected? But over here, if you were to buy any 2-betas, because of the fact that there's a good volume of 2-betas in terms of choice. So when we look at the stacks over there, you have stack number 11, 7, 14 and 3. You have basically 4 different choices. And of course, stack number 6 will be a 2+30 facing towards the front, so making up the 5 different stacks for 2-bedroom types. For 1+30, there's only stack number 10 that's available. So I think in terms of balance of unit distribution mix is done very well. So if you are hunting for a 3 or 4-beta as well, you don't have to really worry about the fact that in future will there be enough transaction volume and activity. So meantime, I'm going to bring you to one of the show gallery first. Oh my goodness, look at this. The 5 bedrooms, the largest unit, 1776 square feet. This 5 bedroom feels larger than normal. The reason is because a lot of the 5-betas, they come with a private lift feature. But do you really need a private lift? If you don't need a private lift, what's going to happen is that the private lift lobby space that usually eats into your 5-bedroom unit is going to come into the unit, and that allows you more space within your living, dining, dry and wet kitchen. So that's what I think is fantastic in terms of efficiency. We're gonna start from the front, and as I walk through, have the floor plan being blown up to you. Firstly, the 5-bedroom unit comes in straight at the foyer. You have a nice storage zone here for your DB box. Grand foyer space for you to walk in. Great vantage point in terms of directly looking at your dry kitchen, the dining space. And just have a look at this. This is like an 8-seater at a restaurant. Oh my goodness. You have space for a round 8-seater, which is fabulous. Living, dining. Wide span layout in terms of your balcony space, your powder room located towards the left, your dry kitchen here, which is grand, peninsula right in the middle with a lot of storage space over at this portion, pull-outs here for a lot of pots and pans, and then this is like your dry coffee pantry for your coffee machine, your wine collection. You also have a top hung storage over here, Kutcher oven, smack wine cellar provided, smack 2-door fridge, and then your wet kitchen, its own yard space, store, as well as your yard WC. So this is like fully blown in terms of check boxes of everything you need within the home. So 1776 square feet, really luxurious. As you come over here, dual walkway towards your living zone. Now I'm going to talk about Junior Master. Junior Master located at one side of the layout. Usually 5 beders, they will reserve one room towards one side. It's like a private room with its own ensuite. Great for multi-gen living, great as a guest room, great for your parents, great for one of your teenage kids that wants their own private ensuite. Size of the bathroom, very decent. Full-blown view towards the front facing, similar to your living balcony as well. Take note that for the entire Alta, they are giving vinyl flooring, which is great in terms of maintenance, scratch resistance, and easy to maintain over the years. You don't have to worry about chip on your marble floor, you don't have to worry about stains on your marble floor as well, because vinyl flooring easily maintainable. Most of the materials now are also pet friendly as well. Sometimes if you want to replace certain pieces, vinyl flooring are usually like a clicking system, so it's very easy to replace certain pieces along the years. As we come here, there's an aluminum frame glass sliding door. Just take note. Balcony space, as mentioned, it doesn't stretch all the way towards the bathroom. This is as much as you get, and it's a great space. It doesn't eat into your square footage as well, but big enough really to be like a hosting zone that has like a combination of outdoor and indoor towards your living and as well as your balcony. Before we move in, we need to talk about pricing. Something to note in terms of Clementi, we want to start from what is available in Clementi first. Now, when we look at Clementi, firstly, the bread and butter of all Singapore properties will be the HDB apartments. Now, when the HDB apartments within an enclave does very well, what's going to happen is that it's going to structure a lot of HDB upgrading needs for the families that started with their BTOs, with their DBSS, with their HDB resale. Clementi has 2 portions, an older version and a newer version. Older version are very distinct, usually 10 to 12 levels. Newer version are the superb high-rise HDBs, 20, 30 or even 40 levels. And then all this in terms of performance, let's just flash out some of the transacted prices of the HDBs that has been resold in the market once they hit their MOP. So when we look at Clementi, in terms of transaction volume, as well as transacted quantum price of its HDB apartments, these are no shy from the top performing HDBs in the entire Singapore. Why is that important? Is because whenever you look at the entry price of a BTO vis-a-vis the exit price, if these HDB owners are seeing a margin in terms of their profit from their entry towards the exit at about $500,000 to $600,000, plus what they have accumulated in terms of their savings over the years, that will easily help them to transit to like a 3 or 4 bedder in the resale market. Even if, let's say, they are not seeing that $500,000 to $600,000 or $700,000 gain, and they're only seeing like $200,000 to $300,000 gain, that can also easily translate into like a 2-bed or 2+ study for most of the families. Sometimes existing families that have already fully paid their HDBs, but they still want to keep their HDB, but they want to buy additional unit for investment, they might go for like a 1+ study or 2 bedders. Why is that important? Is because whenever we want to invest in a new development, if your intent is to sell after it hits its TOP stage 4 years later, which probably will be in the year 2029, Q1 for Alta, you want to know whether there's a ready exit audience in this particular enclave and what draws these families to buy a unit that has just TOP. Maybe they don't want to wait, they want to buy and stay immediately, they want to buy and rent out. And maybe for you, you want to buy to stay, that's all good and fine, but you also want to have the flexibility that maybe after you stay for 3 years after TOP, you want to sell. So knowing your exit audience is extremely important. Secondly, the secondary group will be from the existing private property owners over here. They could be staying in some of the landed properties in the Clementi and the West Coast zone, whether they are staying in the Faber zone, West Coast region. These are families that love the D5 enclave. And sometimes, whether they are coming from Pasir Panjang or West Coast or Faber or Clementi, their kids, once they grow up, they might want to buy a project that is new or near their parents' private properties and apartments here. So we call this the familiarity effect. Familiarity effect is an effect that sprouted over years of staying in the same district, same enclave, same estate. Maybe your parents is here, you're used to all the shopping malls here, your kids are studying in some of the schools over here. You want to stay within the same enclave for your lifestyle needs reason, visiting your families over weekends for meals, and this is a very important effect that is great for mature townships like Clementi. Last but not least is that if you are buying ELTA with a purpose as an investment kind of outlook that you might want to rent out after you collect your keys 4 years later, what is great is that you know that existingly you can rent to expatriates or you can rent to people working in the educational field, whether they are working in the Polytechnics here, the NUS region here, National University Hospital, NUH, or whether they are working near to One North, the Silicon Valley hub, or maybe they are working around some of the ports as well as Jurong Business District. You have a lot of expatriates, you have a lot of tenant requirements and tenant demand from both locals as well as expats within the D5 enclave. So that is something to think about in terms of the future exit audience needs. For 5 bedrooms, on top of the store at the back, you also have a home shelter located towards your bedroom walkway. This is great for all your luggage needs. Currently, the Showflat unit is showcasing how you can use this as a wine cellar. You can also put in a mirror like this as well. And then, as we move into bedroom number 4, as mentioned, bedroom 4 and 3, they share a Jack and Jill bathroom. Great in terms of size. You move in here, Jack and Jill bathroom into your bedroom 3, and then you also have your bedroom number 4, ensuite junior master. So all the 5 bedrooms have access to like an ensuite bathroom. Just need to take note that you have 2 junior master rooms. So this is one of them. The one next to the living room is the second one. And then you have 2 bedrooms sharing 1 Jack and Jill bath. And then of course your master is extremely huge. 7-panel wardrobe system. Have a look at this. You have a 2-door here. Another 2-door here. 5th door. 6 and 7. Alright. Because you still have like a display cabinetry, glass panel already done for you, king bed, side tables, enough ample, generous walkway space, WC separate standing shower, ventilation window. The bathroom is great in size. Bottom vanity storage behind the mirror as well. Loads of space for you to put in like open displays for all your bathroom kind of needs. Mirror portion already provided over here. And just love the fact that went into like details in terms of the needs of a 5-bedroom owner. So basically your room is huge in terms of size, and I think if you come for the show gallery visit, you will be able to experience the size of this particular 5-bedroom master ensuite. This is like a dual facing kind of like sofa arrangement. Of course, what is going to happen is that if you want to put in like a TV console, you can decide which angle you want to put at, and then you can have like a nice L-shaped kind of sitting arrangement over here. Do make good use of a balcony space as well, because these are all sheltered balconies, and most importantly is that the 5 bedders face the best view. So 5 bedders will face towards the southern view. In terms of future developments, the important thing is that buy into a space not just in terms of location, but in terms of future growth. When we look at future growth, this is anchored with, I think, so many things that is upcoming. So firstly, Clementi, schools, proximity to Buona Vista, proximity to Bukit Timah, proximity to Holland, proximity to Greater Southern Waterfront, proximity to Jurong Business District. So you already have most of the things that you need. Clementi is a name that has always been very popular among families that are hunting for value. 4 bedders, you have a lot of choices. So you have the standard 4 beds, you have the 4-bed premium, you have the 4+ study, you have the 4-bed dual key. You have 4 different choices. I'm going to help you to break down what to look out for in terms of 4 different layouts. But take note, one very distinct thing is that we want to hunt for the largest 4-bedder first, and that's the 4+ study is at about 1,005 square feet. The second largest version will be the 4-bed dual key, which is the one I'm standing in, is 1313 square feet, which I think in terms of size is really efficient because this is the same size as the 4-bed premium version. Now the 4-bed premium version is also 1313 square feet. The only difference is that it doesn't have a dual key component, and the smaller size will be at 1184 square feet, which is the standard 4-bedroom type. I think if you're hunting for the 4-bed premium version, the difference is that the 4-bed premium version gives you an additional home shelter as well as an additional bathroom. If you're considering the 4-bed premium version, you can also think about the 4-bed dual key because dual keys in the market are extremely rare, and this is a fully functional dual key. So firstly, it is very rare nowadays for developers to craft dual key because dual key technically take up more floor plate, and usually dual key have to be located at a corner stack because you want to give your dual key unit a separate facing that gives you privacy from your main facing. So usually they have to be at a corner stack for it to make logical sense in order to create that privacy that the main owner will want to have. Now usually people buy dual key because they want an option for multi-gen living as well as a future option to rent out the studio unit. So this is the studio unit that I'm standing in, part of the 1313 square feet. I love the fact that the foyer is not too huge. So when you buy dual key, you have 3 sets of keys. Your main door key, as well as the second door key towards your 3-bedder, and then your third door key towards your 4th bedroom, which is now converted into a studio. Good thing is that when you buy this dual key unit, this studio is fully equipped for you to rent out from day one. So it comes with the same kitchen appliances. You have 2 induction cooker. There's like a Wi-Fi series over here. It's all armed with like smart features. Hood hob, your Frankel sink, tabletop area, your paneling in terms of like condiments, utensils, Mac fridge as well. So really good stuff for your tenant. Also, microwave oven. You have additional storage over here, which I think is really well planned. And then your wardrobe system. So sufficient for like a nice sitting area, so much like a hotel, and then a sheltered balcony with your outdoor sitting zone. So you still, in terms of space for queen bed, fully sufficient ensuite. One idea that you can use is that now when you buy like a dual key, think of it as buying 2 units at one shot, and you are only utilizing one name, and that's the beauty. And even if let's say you're buying as a couple, you need to use 2 names. You're also buying 2 units at one shot rather than just buying like a normal 4-bedder, because this gives you like a 3 and a 1-bedroom option, and then you can just rent out this studio portion. If you look at the rental prices now in the market, easily you can rent this out for about $2,500 plus minus. Rental market fluctuates, but in Singapore rental stability is strong, vacancy period is extremely low, and sometimes it's not easy to find like a studio version like this because the smallest unit available here will be the 1+ study at about 500 odd square feet. So this is great. If you want to rent out $2,100, you multiply by 12 or 11 months after factoring like some costing for agency fees and paper and stuff like that, and maintenance. That will easily give you close to about 20,000 gross revenue in terms of rental collection per year. Usually people will go for dual key unit because they want to use that studio portion to substantiate part of the interest costing that goes into your monthly installment. So when you break down your monthly installment, it's going to easily cover a huge portion of the interest cost that is part of the P&I component of your monthly installment that you make to the bank. The second portion will be the fact that you want to fetch your parents in. Maybe you have a sibling, and you can co-share. You can actually have your parents enjoy the portion with their own privacy. You have your own privacy. You all can still meet here for your dining, your communal living as well. Now, living dining space, fantastic. I love the concept and the design here. You can take reference and inspiration on how you want to renovate in future. Balcony space is not too huge. Basically, I think in terms of the size of the balcony, it's just about right. It's not those type of balcony that stretches all the way to your bedrooms, which sometimes we don't really utilize, but this is great enough for outdoor dining with sheltered balcony space. Balcony screens have been pre-approved. If you want to do it, there's some guidelines on what kind of balcony screens and color tone that you can do. Now, in terms of the 4-bed dual key, there's no compromise on the dry kitchen and the wet kitchen. Nicely done. Yard zone, yard WC with its own ventilation, as well as the store. Now, take note, all the 4-bedroom version, whether is it the 4-bed premium, the 4-bed standard, the 4-bed plus study or 4-bed dual key, they all come with a store or a home shelter. Also take note, if you invest anything that's 3-bed premium and above, also come with a Steigen electric drying rack, which is fantastic, and Wells water dispenser will be provided. You can utilize this as your helper's room, as your storage room. It's going to come in very handy and very useful. Good yard space, washer cum dryers. We already have a Smack brand provided. 2 portions. Where you get a 4-bedder, you'll feel that your kitchen space is really bigger, more luxurious as well. Something to note about the switches, Schneider brand, and of course all your plug points are located on this portion of the kitchen as well. In terms of top cabinetry, fully sufficient, tabletop, color tonality, all nicely and well designed. Now as we move out, there'll be a dry kitchen space. You have your Smack fridge, Kutcher brand in terms of oven, bottom storage, and over here at this island peninsula, you also have a lot of space for all your different pots and pans needs as well. Now, once we move in here, dining space, living space, balcony, we move on to the bedrooms. You will notice that this is what I love about the design. Common bath, Jack and Jill towards your 3rd bedroom. A lot of functionality. You have a sliding panel here. This is the main one, will be a swing door. The Jack and Jill entrance for the 3rd bedroom is going to be a sliding panel door to save space. Bedroom number 2, great space for your kids' room, great space for study area as well, great space also for a queen or double-decker bed. And then your master room. I love the fact that they really challenge the convention, because most of the time you have your master at this direction, but this is now switched. It's not facing towards your bed. You come in, your bathroom is here, and then that gives you this entire walkway basically uninterrupted for coming into your main wardrobe space. And then you have a 2 sliding panel wardrobe space, king bed, full height panel windows all the way. Enough space for you to plug in like a 55-inch TV. So in terms of AC, Mitsubishi electric version, Schneider switches as mentioned. As we look at what is being provided, you have the Hans Grohe bathroom features as well. Space, definitely as what you see, what you get, but in terms of basically ventilation window is also provided for the 4-bed dual key. Alright, so let's talk about the 4 different types of 4-bedders. So you have the 4-bedroom, you have the 4-bed dual key, and then you have the 4 Premium Plus Study. Now 4 Premium Plus Study is the largest version. It is the 1507 square feet type. So why is the 4 Plus Study the largest and at 1507 square feet? Is because you get almost everything. You have a good sized study room located along the walkway. You have an additional bathroom that serves bedroom number 2 and number 3 as a Jack and Jill bathroom. You have the common bathroom that serves bedroom number 4, also like a junior ensuite, as well as the common area. So in totality, you get 3 very good sized bathrooms, which includes your master ensuite, and you have a WC at the back as well as a home shelter and a yard zone. So that at 1507 square feet comprised of an additional bathroom as well as your study room also. Let's go down 1 tier towards the 4-bed dual key, which is this one that we're talking about. Interestingly, you have 2 separate kitchens. That one you can rent out, and let me just give you a nice differential. Just for example, you're thinking about maybe getting the smallest version of the 4-bedder type, which is 1184 square feet. Take note, that will come with a common bathroom that serves all 3 common bedrooms, and then you have another bathroom that serves your master ensuite. 4-bedder standard version also comes with dry and wet kitchen. It comes with a store. Now your common bathroom also has a Jack and Jill towards your bedroom number 4. So that's all good and fine. The only difference is that you don't have an additional study zone, you don't have an additional bathroom, you don't have that dual key functionality. So that's 1184 square feet. 4-bed dual key is 1313 square feet. Now what is the difference in terms of size? 1313 minus 1184, that is that 129 square feet difference. Now just assume, if let's say the launch price, which at this point in time we're not sure what's the launch price yet, but let's assume it's at about a range of $2,500 per square foot. That's quantum difference of $300 over $1,000. Now this $300,000 additionally, what is going to happen is that is going to be the difference for getting a 4-bed dual key with 129 square feet more and giving you the option to rent out the studio. Now, if you think about the format of having the additional $332,000, what will potentially happen is that if you don't really need to live in a 4-bedder, you are good with a 3-bedder. Let's move 1 tier to the 4-bed dual key. So as mentioned, this gives you flexibility. This also gives you the future option to treat this unit like an investment unit. A lot of families that bought dual key, the usage and the mentality is that when their kids grow up, they probably will think about the fact that after their kids move out, they get married, you still have like an investable unit. Because the mindset is that I will first buy a 4-bed dual key to live on my own first. So let's say you really need a 4-bedder, You can use that room for one of your child, your parents, whatsoever. Utilize it fully as your own unit. The moment you have the flexibility that somebody moves out of the home because they have gotten their own BTO or own private property, you can then rent out this portion. Now, so that is the first mindset, is that you want the flexibility and option in future to rent out, collect like 20 over thousand per year. Second mindset is that if you are already thinking about getting like a 3-bed premium, the 1023 square feet, you're thinking that, hey, that is 1023 square feet, this is 1313 square feet, there's like a difference of maybe about 290 square feet difference. And 290 square feet difference, or maybe I just round out to 300 square feet difference, I multiply by the per square foot, maybe that will bring me to about a 2005 PSF average, just for example. Multiply by 300 square feet difference, that's probably about 750,000. So 750,000, based on the rent that you collect here, that will probably give you a range of about 3.8% plus minus rental yield, which is great, because maybe you are thinking, rather than me buying a 3-bedder and having my spouse name to buy another 1-bedder for rental, why don't I try to see if I can get a 4-bed dual key using one name? And using that approach, I technically already own 2 units under my name, and it's like a studio that I can rent out, 3-bedder that we can stay. And then in future, once you start another set of down payment, you can then go for another 2-bedder maybe in the market for rental reasons. So that's another strategy that you can think about for the 4-bed dual key. Now coming back to the 1313 square feet 4-bed premium unit, that is great if you want to have a home shelter. That is great if you want to have an additional bathroom, because maybe you want a more kind of like efficient need for your entire family. This is the option for 4-bed premium. And then the 1184 square feet is a great layout to start with. 4 bedrooms, Jack and Jill for bedroom number 4, 2 full-size bathrooms with 1 WC, wet and dry kitchen is still there. The difference is that you save on the square footage as well, because that is 1184 square feet. So that is great if you're contemplating between 3-bed premium at 1023 and 1184, because the difference is only about 160 square feet plus minus. So something for you to ponder about. For this particular project, the developer has structured all 3 stacks of the 3-bedder to be facing internally towards the Clementi enclave. So you will not be getting the high-rise south-facing Greater Southern Waterfront view. You'll be facing inwards towards Clementi. One good thing about this particular plot, it has that distancing because of Nanhua High School. So if you get anything that's above like 6, 7, and 8 levels, technically you have like a further distance from the internal HDB public housing enclave blocks. But one good thing is that all these are north-facing units. You have the 926 square feet as well as the 1023 square feet for the 3-bedders. This is being categorized to like 3-bedder as well as 3-bed premium. Now for the 3-bedders, you have 2 different types. 926 square feet, which comprise of 2 stacks, 72 units. If not, it will be the 1023 square feet, which there are only 1 stack. Now all 3 stacks are facing inwards towards the Clementi enclave, which is a north facing, so you will not be getting the Greater Southern Waterfront view. You'll be getting the internal facing towards the Clementi enclave. One very distinct part about the plot at Alta is that it's located right in the middle of Cleveland and Clement Canopy, and that gives you like a slight further vantage point because of the fact that you are facing towards Nanhua High School. And Nanhua High School, of all schools in Singapore, is about 5 to 6 levels. So once you cross that 7 to 8 level kind of bandwidth, basically you have a further vantage point in terms of your view itself. There are also a lot of aerial shots over here that you can look at. I'm going to flash some of it within this video for you to look at in terms of which kind of direction that you'll be roughly seeing in terms of height level. So when you come to the show gallery, there's also a television in terms of its 3D aerial view drone shots that you can actually play around with at the sales gallery portion. So coming back to the 3-bedders, I think this 3-bed premium version is really unique. Now this is one of the first time that we're seeing this kind of feature whereby you get like a study room for a 3-bed premium. So it's not categorized as a 3 plus study. It's categorized as a 3-bed premium at 1023 square feet, and it's really interesting how the developers have managed to craft out walkway that is interlinking from a wet kitchen towards your yard space, towards your WC yard bath, and then you will bypass your study room and then you'll head out into the walkway of the bedroom. So there's this like interlinking portion which is really interesting, because that portion that is being recommended as a study space can also be like a store, it can also be like a helper's room, it can also be like a nice area for you to put in like a wine cellar. It can be a lot of different functionality. I think it is really like a bonus space, because for 3-bed premium, usually we are looking at additional yard space, we're looking at additional store or home shelter, we're looking at additional WC, but this really calibrates a lot of functionality of what you can utilize it with. The bedroom number 3 also comes with like a Jack and Jill portion for your common bathroom, and the location of bedroom number 3 is a little bit like usually how the junior master for 5 beders are being located. So it's on the other side of the living area, and that is really interesting in terms of the entire layout because you don't waste too much of your walkway space heading into like a long walkway of like bedroom 1, 2 and then your master, because the traditional 3-bedder is that you will sacrifice a little bit more walkway space into bedroom 1, 2 as well as your master room, but this is now being segregated a little bit like a dumbbell layout, but not exactly a dumbbell. So bedroom number 3 is on one side of the living room, bedroom number 2 as well as your master room is on the other side, together with that combination of a study space. So I think the 3-bed premium at 1023 square feet is a rare stack. It's located right in the middle of the 2 towers. I want to show the 2+ study, basically for 2-bedroom types. Something to note, this is a harmonized layout. Government land sales now, it comes with the fact that most of the walls are not hackable. So if you want to buy hackable wall kind of layout plan, you have to go for en-bloc developments, which are extremely rare in the current Singapore market now. If you were to go for a 2-bedder, you have 3 different layouts that you can choose from. The first one will be the 2-bedder, which is a 2-bed, 1-bath version. Dumbbell layout, we call it the left and right flank layout, whereby the living dining will be right in the middle, the 2 bedrooms to the left and right flank. That will start at about 614 square feet. And then you have the 2-bed, 2-bath layout, which starts at 700 square feet. And this one that I'm standing is 807 square feet, which is the 2+ study. Every time when I look at study room, I want to make sure that it is a separate study by itself and it's not like an open study. So I call that like really not a full-blown 2+ study kind of layout. But for Alta, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I think they have really taken a lot of effort to design the layout to make it so functional that your money is worth it. The study room in and of itself, it has its own AC. You have an open door concept, which is a solid dimension for you to put in like a sliding panel, or you can install in a glass panel door. If you want to leave it like this, that's fine as well. So what a lot of people do is that they really convert this into a full-blown study room. Take note when you come for sales gallery, those are items that are pasted with this word called ID treatment. These are the concepts that the ID from the developer, they have really conceptualized for you to give you a taste and inspiration on what you can do with it. But when you buy a project directly from a developer, you enjoy the progressive payment. If this is your first time buying a property, one of the reasons why a lot of people like to buy new launches development compared to resale project is that it will give you time in terms of payment stage. So you pay the first 5%, 15% and then 5% once the construction commences. In totality, it's the same 25% down payment with your buyer stamp duty, whether is it 4, 5 or 6% tiering system. And then the payment will start in a progressive format, and there's still 1 year defect warranty period after you collect your keys. What's included? Everything will be done, flooring, cabinetries, from a kitchen wardrobe in the bedrooms, the ACs. All you need to do is to put in your curtains and your lights, and of course if you want to renovate with additional carpentry like this show gallery, you can do so as well. Second thing I look at, whether the kitchen is good size, and then the developer is giving Kucher smart appliances. You can see that the hood and hob is done with the Kucher brand. You have a nice size oven as well, Smack washer cum dryer, and they're giving good solid brands. You also have a Smack fridge. So I think in terms of storage and design wise, you have a very nice neutral palette in terms of its tabletop as well as the storage zone. So something to note about 2-bedder is that sometimes when you go for 2-bedders, you get very little storage at the top hung, but when you go for a 2+ study over here, just have a look at the amount of space you have at the top hung portion over here. On top of a cooker hood, is it like a fake portion or is it real portion? So you really have like deep storage over here. So you don't have to worry like this entire part is sacrificed because of the hood itself. Really spacious and really a lot of space for you to play around with. Now the unit is facing towards the sea. Acoustic blinds and ceiling are provided in the living room and balcony for units facing the AYE. So entrance zone, you have this portion here that you can still carve out a portion for your shoe cabinetry needs, and then of course once you walk in, what we're gonna see is that you have this nice front-facing portion from dining, living, all the way towards your balcony. When we visit the bedrooms, I'm gonna show you the master first. So master, this is definitely sufficient for king, and you still have good walkway space, 2-panel sliding wardrobe, soft closure system, and then brands itself, Hans Grohe for the fittings, Gerberit WC system as well as the Duravitz WC. And then Hans Grohe again, in terms of the fittings within the standing shower portion. You have the side paneling for some of your bathroom needs. You have bottom vanity storage. You have behind the mirror wise just to open and show you how it feels and look like. So I think in terms of what you need within your master ensuite, pretty sufficient. And then as we move towards here, the good thing is that they have structured a lot of Jack and Jill portion within the layout, whether it's 2, 3 or 4 bathers and 5 bathers. So even the 2 bather gives you like 2 entry point towards your common bathroom. So it acts also like a junior master. So when you have guests, you can open up this. If you have no guests, you can just leave it closed. This will be like a private junior ensuite for your bedroom number 2, which is really good in terms of family needs. Even if let's say this is a home for the young couple, or whether is it a young couple with young toddler, definitely very, very sufficient. So let's talk about the 2 bathers layout. So you have 3 layouts, 614 square feet, 700 square feet, 807 square feet. Now 614 square feet will be 2 bed, 1 bath. If you were to come to the Alta, this current show gallery that I'm in, when you look at the 2+ study, if you really want to go for the 614 square feet, because maybe you don't need additional bathroom, you don't need study room, you just need to visualize deleting this study area as well as the common bathroom, and that will be your 614 square feet. Now if you go for the 2 bed, 2 bath, you just need to visualize not having this study room, and that will give you the 700 square feet that you need. 2 bathrooms, Jack and Jill portion. Once you go for the 2+ study, you'll be this exact layout at 807 square feet. And I think this is really great and easy for you to visualize what you're gonna get. These are the future-proofing concepts that Alta has thought about. If you look at the entire thing over here, you have like the keyless letterbox system, smart invitation for an app, you have smart parcel pickup, you have a chat group within the entire app itself. You also have service requests, everything that you can do within what they call the smart community app. Take note, there's also smart provisions. There's a digital lock set from you, smart aircon control, you have the smart doorbell, smart hub that's been created, IP cameras that you can add to enhance your security, smart plugs as well, Google Home app, panic button for family members in terms of emergency with a push of a button. So when you look at what is happening in the entire Singapore region, Singapore, in a very, I will say like surprising way, it has performed extremely well after COVID. So after 2020, transaction volume, price appreciation has shot up healthily from 2020 all the way to 2022. Now, 2022 to 2024, we went through close to 11 rounds of federal rate hikes from US Federal Reserve. That impacted the whole world. You see a lot of real estate pricing in other regions coming down or tapering. But in Singapore, it not only did not taper, the interest grew in terms of buying and investing real estate as a store of value and store of wealth. So over the last 11 rounds of rate hikes, we still see very good growth gradually for private property markets. In fact, in 2024, towards Q3 and Q4, if you look at the amount of people visiting Showflats, that has increased tremendously. And now with already 2 rounds of rate hikes that happened in November and December of 2024, the projection for 2025 and 2026 is that with rates tapering down already at a consistent, with interest rates tapering down, a lot of interests are funneling back into the real estate market. Our pricing in terms of appreciation has rose gradually over the last 2 years, even with 11 rounds of rate hikes. Now, with already 2 rounds of rate cuts, what might possibly happen to the real estate market is that a lot of interests are flowing back in. People are really testifying to the fact that Singapore real estate is really performing very differently because we have such a high ownership rate in Singapore. 9 out of 10 people own their own properties. We are not like a huge country with a lot of land. We have very scarce land. We have strong housing needs. We have the Asian culture to own our own properties. Everybody is born with a mindset that I need to own my property one day. So we don't have the mindset of like renting as a Singaporean or as a PR, or even as foreigners. They love Singapore to buy properties as investment. And even though with ABSD at 60%, this few years, most of the transaction volume and price growth happens because Singaporeans and PRs are buying. I think Singapore is very, very different. As a small country, great governance, great security, great schools, and great growth in terms of GDP as well. And importantly, I think when you aim for a property that is new, you don't have to worry about the Bala's curve effect because you have a full 99 years and you have that first mover's advantage when you buy something brand new. So when you buy something brand new, what's important is that your 99 years resets and you are the first owner. And when you look at this project, why do we want to emphasize the very fact that there's 501 units? Because Based on our PLB mode analysis, there's one factor called the volume effect, and that is the fact that if you buy a project, try to hunt for projects with at least 300 units in terms of total density, because of the very fact that when this entire project eventually sells out after the launch date, everybody enters at around the same range in terms of PSF level and quantum level. Different levels at different pricing. As the units go up in height, the pricing increases, and that's only fair because you get a better view, better height. So when the launch happens, so coming back to the volume effect, is that this is what we call like a one-off effect that only happens for the first-hand owners. And having that first mover advantage gives you the very fact that you are the first owner to own this unit. You hold for 3 to 4 years. When you exit, definitely what's going to happen is that every of your other neighbors over here, all the 501 units, they're going to think the same way. They're not going to sell back at the purchase price. They definitely want to see at least a $300 PSF gain, for example, for them to think about whether they want to sell. Even if, let's say, they don't want to sell, they will just rent it out. They will probably just stay by themselves. They will probably just wait for a better price if they want to exit. But let's track back to some of the profitable transactions when you look at some of the projects over here that I talked about at the start of the video. If you look at Tri-Link, you look at Park Clementi's, you look at Clement NOP, you look at Clavon, projects in Clementi tend to perform very well in terms of appreciation. And I think definitely when Alta comes out, it's going to be an exciting project, because not only is the project built well, it is also one of the key projects that have this very premium view towards the Greater Southern Waterfront portion. And I think there's a layout, when you release them in the market 4 years later, if you want to sell, when the buyers come and look at the layout, they're going to be impressed the amount of, with the calibration for the interior layout type that the developer has built into every single unit for 2, 3, 4 and 5 beders. Alright, so if you want to have a look at this place, the links are down below. Additional information are all located at the description box here. If you want to have a look at the show gallery, just click on the link below to reach out to our consultants. They'll be very happy to show you the Alta show gallery. My name is PropertyLimBrothers. As always, thank you for our new launch show gallery series, and we'll see you on the next episode.